How are you today, Donald? I am great, David. If you do not know, it's our Scary Stories episode. David, I smell something.
Happy Halloween.
You're listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, where HIPAA and humor collide to make learning fun. Your delightful hosts are Donna Grindle and David Sims. Relax, HIPAA help is on the way.
Welcome to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast. My name is David Sims from HIPAA for MSPs, and joining me is Donna Grindle of Card and Compliance.
Dun, dun, dun.
Today, if you do not know, is our Scary Stories episode. It's our Halloween episode that everybody's been wanting to hear after the one we did last year.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was. So this is the time where we get to probably be a little bit even more silly about some of the things that we'll talk about. And our editor loves it because he gets to put in a lot of sound effects.
We're assuming he loves it. I don't know.
He's like, dadgummit, more work.
I don't know, really.
But yeah, so we get to talk about some scary things around what's going on out there and some stuff I bet you didn't know that should scare the life out of you.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of our episodes are scary to people. I had a listener tell me that people were looking at him weird on the plane because we were causing him to have heart palpitations. Sorry, dude. We try to make it funny is all I can say.
Yeah. We try to make you look at the little stuffed animal over to the left, so you don't see the needle going into your arm.
Well, anyway, so this is are we brought to you by the letter H today?
What would that be for?
HIPAA for MSPs.
Absolutely. So HIPAA4MSPs.com, if you don't know, is for managed IT service providers or who want to provide HIPAA compliant services. If you have an IT provider or you are an IT provider and you want to know more about this service, head on over to HIPAA4MSPs.com, where you can get everything from some free information and training all the way up to our flagship product, the Certified HIPAA Managed Services Professional, which we highly recommend, it's a collaboration between HIPAA for MSPs and Card and Compliance there too, where we very, very, very comprehensively equip IT vendors to be able to provide HIPAA compliant services.
Indeed. And we're talking about teaching them not just check the box, get the minimum stuff done for your own compliance, but how to do a deep dive and be prepared to help your clients in a way that they really assume that you are. Mm-hmm. So that's just...
You wouldn't provide IT services if you just had a minimal level of understanding. I mean, you would really want to know what you're doing and a deep dive into that information so that you can provide that level of service that's much better than everybody else. And HIPAA should be the same thing.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. So our first thing we're going to dive into is the scary part of cybersecurity, which we like to sometimes cram the words together and say cybersecurity.
It's cybersecurity. Cybersecurity.
Yeah. So we hear a lot about cybersecurity this year in 2016. It's been a huge thing. We talked about ransomware last week as well as again in the past. And of course, that all boils into the cybersecurity problem. And, we looked at what happened in 2014, 2015. And of course, we don't have a lot of reports about the totals of what's happening in 2016, but we do know that it is massively different than what's happening in previous years. And 2017 is gearing up to be even worse than that. So let's talk about what's really happening on your computers and on your networks and on the internet every single second of the day. There's a lot of amazing things happening. So we'll look at that today.
So we're exploring the cyber scary haunted house. That's what we're getting. And you're going through the door on your left, David. Go ahead, open the door, see what you see.
I'm scared already.
And turn the knob, open the door. Oh, yeah. So in this door, we learn about a study that reviewed, they did an analysis of 1.5 billion security log files.
Okay.
And learned in 2015 some very scary things.
And this was last year. So this is not even as bad as it is already.
Well, they generally review them at the end of the year. So, but this is Checkpoint, which is a security provider, and they did a really cool report. But when you start seeing some of these numbers, you're like, holy crap. Dum, da, dum, dum.
So yeah, I like the very first one. It says every 4 seconds an unknown malware is downloaded. And then I can repeat it. Every 4 seconds an unknown malware is downloaded.
He's going to download it every 4 seconds. We're downloading from David.
By the time I get finished reading this, it's happening again.
As soon it takes about 4 seconds to get it out. Every 5 seconds, somebody accesses a malicious website. Now, these numbers are it's like an average enterprise organization. So an enterprise,
it's not the same person doing this every 5 seconds,
right? Yeah, and it's not across the whole internet. It's just part of a enterprise. So it's usually a couple thousand employees or more if it's called an enterprise, but that is within just that enterprise. Every 4 seconds, unknown malware is downloaded. Every 5 seconds, they're accessing a malicious website. So, boom. But then as the clock continues to tick.
Yeah. So every 30 seconds, there's a threat emulation event which occurs. Just scary enough. Every 30 seconds.
And every 53 seconds, a bot communicates with its command and control center. And we've mentioned bots before, but it's where some of that malware has turned those computers or those devices, because now it's the Internet of Things, the IoT devices are involved, and they turn them into a robot computer that's doing whatever the malware controller wants it to do, including attack things and, do calculations and all these kind of things. But if it every 53 seconds is communicating with its command and control center, which is like the brain of the botnet, all the robots go back to the boss and say, "What up? What do I do?" And it gives you and then it sends it back. So that's 1,630 times a day.
Wow. So this is one reason why when you see something kind of strange on your computer, don't say, "Well, as soon as I get back from lunch, we'll call the IT guy and get him to take a look at it." No.
And, I can't even imagine how many it was if you were to look at home computers. Because you can't track these kinds of numbers on home computers because they don't have the firewall devices. These are when they have those devices in place. Yeah. So the number of people, and it's one of those things where everybody says, "I don't care if they hack me. I don't worry. I'm going to use password 123. I'm not going to worry about the updates. I don't care if they hack me. I don't have anything they want." Yes, they do. You are part of their attack crew. You become part of the gang. So when you hear about Krebs on security had to go down because it was like some ridiculous amount of traffic coming from all of these botnets and IoT devices aimed at that website that reported on what bad things the hackers were doing. So your computer, lift your fingers away. It could be a bad guy.
Yeah. With the toll-free number to call.
Really? So tick. It's the telltale.
So every 81 seconds, a known malware is downloaded. The first thing we talked about was the unknown, which was 4 seconds. So every 81 seconds, a known malware is downloaded.
So that tells you how many are unknown versus there's so many we don't know yet. Every 4 minutes, a high-risk application is used, meaning one that could open
Facebook.
You up. Yeah. RDP, remote desktop protocol, those kind of things. Every 4 minutes, it's opening you up to potential problems.
And every 32 minutes, sensitive data is sent outside the organization. Golly.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The problem is that sometimes it's not maliciously done from a hacker. It's done from an employee.
Yeah. That insider stuff we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in fact, some of these statistics will show you that the insiders are actually the biggest problem. I think one of the ones I saw was 40-something% of the problems were insider activity, 30-something was external, and then the rest was miscellaneous. So those are really scary numbers. You know, to me, it's like, holy crap. Or, you know, you and I could look at it as job security. And we're not out creating it. We're not doing it. You know, we just know the other guys are. So the other big scary numbers from that report, that in the past 3 years, so 2015, 14, and 13, 400% increase in loss of business data records.
Wow.
400%. And 89% of organizations have downloaded a malicious file. And so if you think you don't have one, just saying.
The odds are you do.
Yeah, well, you do. But the more than 971 unknown malware downloads per hour in 2015 is 9 times the downloads per hour in 2014. Well, what if we do 9 times that again, David? What's that math?
That is a lot.
Thank you for that. So
yeah, that's my algebraic equation.
Yeah.
But it's 8,739.
There you go. We're pushing 10,000 downloads per hour. You know, but even if it's only 5 times more, you know, I mean, it's still, it's a dramatic amount of malware downloading, and they're building it faster than we can stop it. So if that's not enough to scare you and run out of that room, what is, David?
A picture of me in the morning.
There you go. We just found that in the room. Quickly, let's run out and slam that door.
Yes. So now let's go behind door number 2.
I think door number 2 is even scarier.
It is. It is, because the title hanging over this door is Your Life, Repackaged and Resold.
Yeah, it's for real. So as we enter this room, we're going to see a new report. So that's the title of the report, with the subtitle, The Deep Web Exploitation of Health Sector Breach Victims. Yeah, boy.
That's scary just reading it.
I know. Exploitation is not a word that we usually use. It's not one of our exciting, dollar words for our 50-cent sentences. But it was published by the Institute for Critical Infrastructure Technology, known as the Cybersecurity Think Tank. And they are advisors to the legislative and federal. They're a nonpartisan. It's a group of nerds that get together and study this stuff. And they really do just tell it like it is. And they presented this report September 22nd to the Senate. So right away, this is like really current stuff. And they're talking about what actually happens to people when their data has been lost in a healthcare cybersecurity breach. And basically, it's a scathing report. Some people called that OIG report we talked about a few weeks ago a scathing report. This is a scathing report of the failures in healthcare security practices.
This is the OMG report?
No, this is the... we thought that the OIG was an OMG report. This report takes OMG to a whole new level, and they're saying that the healthcare security practices are messed up AF. So, just in the opening, they use some pretty intense terminology and criticisms that, and I have to say, I don't think any of this is wrong as far as what they are pointing out. In fact, I think we've talked about all of it, and I know even these guys listen to our podcast.
They do.
So the initial thing that they said is, and it was pretty intense, so I wanted to include the actual quote. The health sector is unique among critical infrastructures due to the fact that they are the most at risk, in possession of vast amounts of valuable data, and perpetually and easily breached. That first sentence right there is like, yeah, I know what you mean. It's true. Yet, virtually all health sector organizations refuse to evolve their layered security to combat a hyper-evolving threat landscape. By doing so, health sector organizations render maximized vulnerabilities like technological gaping wounds to an adversary with the ambition to exploit them.
Nice.
Boom!
Some pretty good wordage there.
Technological gaping wounds. If that doesn't give you some sort of scary visual of a gaping wound.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, we're going to cut off your right arm, your left leg, and make you partially deaf. All right, now you go fight them.
Well, what gets me is they didn't say that, virtually all healthcare organizations aren't doing it well enough. They're saying they just flat out refuse to evolve.
Right. I mean, that's what they're saying. Clearly, when they use the phrase refuse to evolve, they don't pussyfoot around, as they say.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you and I see that a lot with clients, even the smaller clients. It's not the, we're doing the best we can. We're just not doing crap about it.
Yeah. We don't care.
Yeah, really.
We're too little. I'm not that, I'm not the one that's important. They'll go after somebody else. You're the gateway. You're the gateway drug. And it does bring up some other things about the smaller ones further on that point out how scary it is. And they went further to say that in the same decade that banks have cracked down on identity theft, healthcare networks have made it easier by transitioning to interconnected electronic systems without implementing strong security. So, I mean, you and I both know all these EHRs, when that meaningful use phase one, I mean, those security risk assessments were a joke.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but that's what I think. From actually addressing security, they didn't do anything.
Right.
That's all you got, right?
Long pause.
We can put some scary sound in there. But anyway, that point of saying they refuse to evolve and they haven't even taken responsibility for the fact we're putting more electronic stuff out there, we should actually secure it. They've said, we're going to get some money to implement these EHRs, and they think about that money going in their pockets and then as little as possible being spent on the EHR security.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know of too many people that got the money that were putting it toward technology and security at all. Most of them were padding their pockets and
they saw it as a rebate on the EHR that they implemented.
Mm-hmm.
Is a rebate. So the least amount that I spend on implementing it, the better I'm doing on my rebate. So, it's not like that was done maliciously. It's that no one sat down and said, look, this idea that you've got to do a security risk analysis, the people that were actually checking to see if they did it and the ones helping them do it don't understand what a firewall is. They don't understand. They don't understand the basics of the technology behind security like these guys do. So go ahead and share the next one, David. You can get
So So it says that in the same decade that banks have cracked down on identity theft, healthcare networks.
I just did that one.
I own you. That's what it says. Squirrel.
Look, see that you gave me the pregnant pause when I was trying to get you to communicate. Now I guess it's really clear that you got scared by something else in this scary room.
Yeah, I was still looking behind me. I'm scared. I hear a chainsaw, I swear.
I hear banjos.
That's even worse.
Oh, God. All right. So next.
Yeah, so the other one, the I own you.
Yes.
Once a hacker owns the EHR, they effectively own the victim, which is absolutely true.
Yeah. They own you. They are you from then on.
Not only do they own you, but you're going to pay them to own you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They own the victim, and they're talking about the patients themselves. When they bring on the next part of it, they say there's no incentive to prevent devastation. And it talks about how the hospitals and medical providers, they'll find a way to recover. They're insured, whatever, but there is no mechanism for the individuals. And so their point is there's little incentive other than goodwill and reputation for organizations to drastically improve their security to prevent breaches. Meanwhile, every patient record compromise from every healthcare organization has the potential to devastate and financially ruin a United States citizen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
preach it.
Yeah. Well, they did it. I'm just reading their stuff. The ICIT. They're having a gala soon. We should go. But
I like their acronym. ICIT.
ICIT. I see dead people. So the point though, and if you read some of the stories about what's happened to these people when their medical identity is completely overtaken, that it truly is the potential to devastate and financially ruin these people, which is why we use our tagline there, not the humor one, but our key one. That it's about patient care because you literally have this ability. But the point is, there's really no incentive for anybody to protect all the citizens of the United States. And that it goes even further to say, not only do I own you and I can devastate and financially ruin you, but I'm going to impact you for the rest of your life.
Right.
So the entire brutal impact of the incident that resulted from poor cybersecurity and inadequate cyber hygiene, that's my new favorite word, on behalf of the healthcare organization is forced onto the shoulders of the victim to deal with for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
It
is.
Yeah. I mean, it is because no one's there. Oh, it's like, oh, well, we can't afford to give you credit protection. Well, people ask me about the credit protection and all of that, and I think it's good. And there was a woman that was being interviewed about a breach here in Atlanta. Another one bites the dust. So she was like, I don't have time to be monitoring my credit. I don't have time to shut my credit down. I don't have time to worry about all this stuff. And I mean, she was just livid over this having happened. Which in some ways, I thought it was great that, somebody was really starting to get what was going to happen to them. But in other ways, it was more concerning that somehow she's just now been part of a breach. So that tells you just how many more people can be part of these breaches. And it's absolutely terrifying what can happen. And the patient may be forced to suffer the impact of the incessant exchange of the immutable details of their person on deep web markets for the rest of their life, all due to a healthcare organization's lack of prioritization of cybersecurity and cyber hygiene within their business model.
Yeah, because you could have a something happened, and let's say you were fortunate enough to be able to fix it, I mean, that information's still out there. So you could relive the entire problem all over again 5 years from now, 10 years, 20 years from now.
Yeah. I mean, it can keep coming back. So even if you are managed to correct a medical record, it could end up back in there.
That's like a cyber STD.
Okay. I'll have to give you that. Just looking around at the terrifying parts of what can happen on the deep web. And we've talked about this stuff before when we talked about, the Dark Overlord. And we talked about the Dark Overlord multiple times. And the breach that just hit the news. There's a lot of indications, although they cannot confirm nor deny. But it appears that this new one that's just come out is another one that can be attributed to the Dark Overlord. There seems to be several indications of that anyway. But there's so many organizations that are part of this Dark Overlord thing, and their patients' data is already out there. They posted it to prove they had it.
Right.
So it's not like, they'll wait a while. And, with the insurance coverage that they do offer, if they offer it for a year. Well, the hackers know that. The criminals
just wait a year.
Well, they're in no hurry. The information is valid as of right now. And, some people are going to move around, but even a year from now, that would still be your last known address or your previous address. Your healthcare information would still be likely the same, as well as, a lot of insurance. Sometimes it's changed, but most people don't change it that often. And the level of fraud and abuse these people are going to take it's unknown at this time because we've never dealt with it at the level that we have it now.
No, it's not going to get any better.
So while people get upset about not having the coverage, or the ones that even have the coverage are like, I don't know how this is really going to help me, just know you got to stick with it for the rest of your life. It's not about your financials. It's about your medical records. So you always have to, anytime you go see a new healthcare provider, you need to tell them, look, my medical records were stolen.
Yep.
So
raise my hand. I've been there. Mine got stolen twice.
Yeah, you the man.
Yeah, mine got hit with the big Anthem breach, and then again with a local ambulance service.
Right. So we haven't even seen the results of those yet because it takes time. So, and we did talk about this before. The next piece that they brought up is that when we did an episode on where does your fruit hang, we talked about, don't think that because you're small, nobody wants your data and you don't have value, because they're going to get all those records. If you think, they're just after the superstars, it's not like they break into these networks and go, let me go find all the interesting people while I'm in here. Think about that for just a minute. It's like, if I had everything on paper, the burglar broke in and they could carry the entire medical records room with them, or they could spend the time going through just plucking out the records that they want. Which one do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, they're going to take everything.
Exactly. So the point is that you become the scrimmage game. To use a nice sports metaphor, you become a scrimmage game for these folks. So the point that they made, another scathing point, the lack of cyber hygiene and this poor endpoint security makes an attack to steal patient data and or to deliver malware or ransomware trivial for even an unsophisticated attacker, because practically no defense obstructs a cyber adversary from stealing patient data and selling it for exuberant profit on deep web markets and forums. Trivial. So you are the low-hanging fruit where they say, hey, we just brought in a whole... do you think that the hackers know how to do it? They just sit down and one day they're able to, I can hack. I can get into, they think about it like they do on TV. Give me 1 minute. I'll be into the Department of Defense. Blah, blah, blah. It's not how it happens, So they bring in all of these noobs and they say, okay, we're going to teach you all these things. And they've got computer skills to begin with. They got some hacking, and we point them at all these low-end stuff. You go get those, and we can get what we want out of there and sell that, and then we'll use them as botnets.
Mm-hmm. And use the money to finance even bigger, better things.
Right. Or guess what? They can log into a hospital because almost everybody can do it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we'll be tracking their login information, and we'll get the ability to do it as you, which is awesome when you get that call. It's really not, we've had people have those problems. That's all I'm going to say. So our last thing that we'll see in this dirty, dusty, scary room is what their conclusions were on what needed to be done to at least help prevent exploitation of your victims. Because you're creating patient victims. You're allowing your patients to become a victim. So in this room, you should visualize a big gaping wound that you are allowing people to pour bacteria in to attack you because you don't care about the gaping wound. And that bacteria is going to attack all your patients, and they will not be able to get rid of it. I mean, if healthcare people can't envision that and see what it means, I don't know what else they can.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
I know. That's like the surgical wound that gets gangrene or something. It's bad stuff. It's bad. It's nasty. So envision that in the room, and then here's the people saying, here's what we think are our conclusions of what we see is going on in the healthcare environment. And so here it is. Executive management who take a lackadaisical approach to cyber hygiene make easy prey to digital age adversaries of all shapes, sizes, and motivations. Rather than ensure the confidentiality, availability, and integrity, the CIA of PHI, to the maximum capability of the organizations, executives make budget line decisions that shift the risk of compromise onto the patients whose data lies in the vulnerable systems. Regardless of how the patient record is abused, the victim bears the majority of the long-term impact of the compromise of a system that they had no decision of how to protect, also that the compromised organization can save budget or procrastinate updating or replacing their Frankenstein legacy technologies.
I have definitely seen those type of networks.
I know, but what better time to mention the Frankenstein stuff than in Halloween? Due to the longevity of the record, adversaries may continue to exchange and exploit the compromised information for the rest of the victim's life. For some, such as children, this can drastically hinder their future financial stability and limit the potential lives they could have led.
Wow. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, come on. So it's absolutely terrifying.
How many people do you think is going to read that though and kick into the, oh, come on, please, it's not going to be that bad?
Most. It's all the people that are already saying, I don't have to worry about me.
Yeah, it won't happen to me.
It's the same people that are worried more about the budget line than anything else. And so, don't spend the money on computers is all I'm saying. If you want to save money, just don't even spend the money on the computers.
Yeah, go back to paper and pencil.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Or use one computer and protect it really, really well is better than spending the money on the computers and not spending it on security.
Mm-hmm.
And
I see that a lot. We had a conversation not long ago with a person that wanted to be a client. And I said, yeah, these 10-year-old computers has got to go. And they were like, no, they work fine. We don't need to replace them. And I said, I don't really think I'm giving you an option.
Yeah. I mean, I would not take a client today that was using 10-year-old computers. And it's really, really not a option. to continue doing that. And so for me, I try really hard to people that, I say I wouldn't take a client who's using them if I was a technology support person. We have stumbled upon them on the compliance side in a risk analysis. And we've talked about it. They're tied to the medical devices. And so then but you've got to deal with the issue. You can no longer just say it's okay.
Right.
And you have to draw the line in the sand somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've been terrified in this room. In fact, David, I smell something. I'm pretty sure you've done something in your pants.
Okay. All I know is I'm scared now.
I'm scared. Cyber scared. Well, let's run out of this room.
Let's go.
Tick, tick. So we do have one last room to go into. The middle room is the scariest room. I'm sure of it. This is a tiny room. It's more like a closet. But that's where the monsters hide. How about that for a segue, buddy?
I like that. So this brings us to something that not very many people know about. And that is that there is actually an FBI most wanted for the cyber criminals.
Yep. Cyber's most wanted.
Yeah. So very cool. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. And the funny thing, though, is when you look at these cyber criminals, they don't look like cyber criminals. I mean, they look like little, some of them are like just nerds.
Yeah.
That are just, some of them look like, the guy next door. I mean, they don't, well, with the exception of probably a couple.
There's a couple of them that look pretty terrifying, but.
Yeah, they don't really look like criminals. I mean, some of them, look like handsome little fellas, and some of them look like, some kid working at a grocery store.
Yeah. Some young kid that just went to his first interview sitting next to you on the train. That's one of them we were talking about earlier. Just sitting there in his nice little dark suit, dark tie, glasses. Just nice kid. I wouldn't think that he's on the FBI cyber most wanted list.
Yeah, most wanted now.
Yeah, not just he's a cyber criminal. He's on the most wanted list.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's interesting is there are military officers that are included on here, which it was somewhat, I guess they called it controversial, but there are two military officers from the Chinese military, the People's Liberation Army of the People's Republic of China, that are, in their military uniforms under this, most wanted list, which is, it points to just how much we have to worry about.
Yeah.
So you go out there and look, and, the names are Eastern European names and Chinese and Korean and Middle Eastern names. They're all over the place. And then there's Joshua Samuel Aaron. He's the one guy where I thought I could pretty much pronounce his name properly. That and Wang Dong. But if you go look at these most wanted, there's 26 on the cybersecurity most wanted, FBI most wanted. Mm-hmm. So they know they're trying to get them. But these folks are not in the U.S.
Right.
It's not like they're breaking into people's houses and doing this cyber espionage. They're doing it from across the world. So this is not something that's easy. Bjorn. I mean, come on. His name's Bjorn. He's just a dude, You figure he's a gamer or something. And many of these folks may be, but some of them look absolutely terrifying. But overall, the good news is that they know who they are and they're trying to track them down. The bad news is that, they never have been in the United States. It's not like they fled. And they are the monsters in the closet, even though they don't look like it. So that's an important thing to remember is sometimes the monsters seem very, sure, I want my computer cleaned up. Yes, click.
Yeah.
That seems so, nothing to worry about, innocuous, no big deal. It's fixing me. Yeah, it's fixing you. on the other end of it is Alexi Balan or Wang Dong or I don't know.
Dark Overlord.
The Dark Overlord, yeah. Because they're using your computer to do these things now, and you're under control and you don't even know it.
And don't not tell somebody when you make a mistake like that.
Yes.
I had somebody called a few months ago, and fortunately I kind of caught it in time, but it was, I really didn't want to call you and tell you this, but I called this 800 number that popped up on my screen, and somebody's in my computer moving the mouse around.
And it for real really happened. That was David's scary Halloween day.
It did. But the point that the person made was, I didn't really want to tell you this because I knew I shouldn't have done it. And I'm like, wow, what would have happened if you hadn't told me? I mean, not tell people because you may get in trouble or you may get fussed at, or it might look bad or non-intelligent or whatever the case might be. Gosh, let somebody know what's going on. Try to stop the hemorrhaging.
Please. If you can't resist the click, at least tell somebody you have a problem.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. And so we can run out of the, close the closet door really quick.
Yeah.
And run out of the haunted house. We have
screaming and hollering.
And you haven't seen anything till you've seen David run.
I can run, Forrest, run.
Yeah, there he goes. Yeah. He's not even looking over his shoulder, seeing what happens to me. He's just saying, look.
Hey, look, I don't have to run fast. I just have to run faster than you.
That's right. He's like, look, you took me to the haunted house. It's your fault. So that's pretty much the end of the haunted story. I know everybody's sad. They wanted to be scared some more.
Yep.
That's why we'll probably include a picture of David in the morning.
No, we won't either.
On the website. But I do have a little thing to promote that there's a webinar that our partners, Comply Assistant and Sphere, they're putting together. They're working on it together, and they have us kind of helping out. And it's a webinar, free webinar on BA management, managing business associates. And it's on November the 7th at 2 o'clock Eastern. We're going to have all the details. I'll put the details on the website so you can get to it. You can sign up, all that kind of stuff. But with the number of breaches that we've talked about so many times with business associates, it's an intent to try to educate more people. And it's not one where I'm doing the educating because ain't nobody got time for that. No, I'm just kidding. But these guys have got some great speakers in, and all the information will be on the website. And it's going to talk about how you get organized and the criteria to rate the risk levels of your BAs. And, if you have a large number of BAs, what do you do? And all that kind of stuff, how to fit it into your security management program, blah, all that stuff, blah, blah. I want to drink your blood. Give me your business associate due diligence.
So how to force your business associates to take HIPAA seriously? Is that going to be the webinar next?
That's probably what we should do is, how do you squeeze them? But squeeze them with love. But we do have a lot of folks, they love their business associates and they want them to be compliant. So check it out. Again, it's on November 7th, and the login, the registration information will be on the website at helpmewithhipaa.com.
Cool.
Episode 77.
I think I'll be there. I'll sign up for that.
Well, that's great.
If you have BAs, you should sign up.
If you are a BA,
if you are a BA, you probably still have BAs. You should sign up.
Yeah. Well, if you are a BA, you should know what they're going to be asking for you.
Yeah. That way you're not calling me and saying, how do I fill out this due diligence survey?
Which he has gotten.
All right.
All right. I think I'm done for today, David.
Oh. So that's our podcast for today. If you want to hear last year's episode for Halloween, you can do that too. You can go to our website and listen to it at any time. Remember that you can go to iTunes and review this podcast. You can also share us out on social media. We appreciate those who do that. We have some people that do that faithfully every single week. We appreciate that. As Donna mentioned, you can visit us on the web at helpmewithhipaa.com. You can also leave a question there, and we may feature that on a future podcast. So remember, for Donna and myself, the HIPAA is not about being scared. It's about patient care.
Happy Halloween.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.